Women face some unique challenges. Women generally earn lower salaries, live longer than men, and sometimes take time off to raise families or care for elderly parents. All the more reason we need to be smart when it comes to money matters. Here with advice on where to start is financial advisor Rob Wilson of Wilson Insight. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Christine.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons women sometimes face additional money challenges.
Yeah, there are a bunch of issues. The largest one being is that this pay disparity does still exist in America. And so women still make about 80 cents on the dollar when compared to what men make. Now, some of this is because women tend to be disproportionately associated with so-called pink collar jobs like education and healthcare, which tend to pay less over time. But there is definitely an issue when you think about men and women absolutely in the same jobs. That pay disparity still exists there as well.
And then we mentioned a lot of women take time off, and that can kind of take some money out of their end income.
Oh yeah, women on average spend 11 years out of the workforce.
Wow.
And what that all adds up to is about $650,000 of lost earnings when you take into account salary and benefits. And so that's a lot of money that could have been put towards a retirement. And the reason why that is such a big deal is that women do live longer than men on average. Now, there are some people who might say that that's because women worry men to death. I can neither confirm nor deny that that's the case, but it's also true that women tend to marry older men. So they'll live 7 years on average older, more than men do. And so what all this adds up to is that 75% of women are going to be widows at some point during their life. And the average age that they become widows is 56. So that's really, really young. And then if you take it one step further, I know it's supposed to be until death do you part, but we also know that 50% of marriages end in divorce. And so when you add up all these things, women really need to be prepared to take control of their own financial well-being and their retirement planning.
Right. At one time, women maybe counted more on the men's salary and their spouse's income, but not anymore. You've got to address it no matter what.
You do.
So, first of all, women are making moves. There is some good news.
There is some good news. Women are making moves. First of all, in the classroom, you have women pursuing more higher education degrees. And so what we've seen for 7 straight years, women have earned the majority of doctorate degrees given out by U.S. universities. And as a matter of fact, since 2009, women have earned a majority of all degrees, going from associates all the way up to PhD. And so you see with more education, hopefully, that the salaries are going to increase over time.
Good.
But the education just isn't going to be enough. You also need women in prominent, levels in companies so that they can hire all of these smart people. Now, you do have 21 women who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. That's down a little bit from the all-time high, but still very, very, it's a good thing to have. You also have a study out there that says when women are more represented in not only the CEO seat, but amongst board positions and management, well, there's been a 15% increase in overall net profitability. So companies are starting to come around to the fact that having women in prominent positions is a good thing.
It's going to help their value. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do, whether you're young or old or whatever. First of all, the art of negotiation.
Yeah, there was a study that recently came out which compared how men feel about negotiation versus women, and women liken it to getting a root canal.
Yes,
when
I
men,
can vouch for that.
men sort of thought about it as a sport, as a game. And so women really need to get comfortable with negotiating, because if you're going to start getting these opportunities, oftentimes that first salary is going to chart your course for the rest of your career. So you definitely want to negotiate your salary. The second thing is that you want to see women pursuing more higher paying jobs. Look, it's not just about the good old boys club anymore. You want to see women pursuing engineering, business, law, medicine, because those opportunities are going to be available and you're going to make more money over time. The next thing is you want to really start to take charge of your career, and part of this is going to mean that you're going to have to coordinate with your spouse so that perhaps you could spend a little bit less time out of the workforce. So if you guys can kind of match up when you're going to be out, hopefully each of you can make more money over time.
Well, and are you finding some men now are even taking some time off, and maybe they take a couple years and then the woman takes a couple years?
Yeah, absolutely. They are not putting all of that burden onto the woman. You see a lot more paternity leave at big companies, and so consequently, this is making sure that the woman can spend more time working on her career.
And we mentioned caring for older relatives too, and I found more companies, it seems, are also offering that as a benefit. that you can still get paid or take time off and come back to your job.
That's also a big thing because a lot of the baby boomers are getting older.
Yes.
So you see sort of Generation X and millennials in a situation where they're not only having to take care of young children, but take care of their older families as well. They sort of call that the sandwich generation. So they're sort of being pulled on both ends with those responsibilities.
So trying to share that with your spouse is what's important.
Yeah, you have to coordinate it. So don't just go by these old stereotypes where it just says the woman has to handle all of that work.
Yeah.
If you have that real hard discussion with your spouse, I think you can coordinate the time that each of you are going to be out.
Nice.
And the last thing that I want to say is that women need to get comfortable with taking more calculated risks, pursuing entrepreneurship, and also with investing. You know, a lot of women tend to want to keep things close to the vest, keep things safe, but you have to take some calculated risks if you want the bigger reward over time.
Great advice as always, Rob Wilson. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christine.
Rob Wilson of Wilson Insight and our regular PTL contributor. And for a link to Rob's free ebook, go to his website. You'll find that link at kdka.com/PTL.